Welcome to Monday ReTsene with Pretoria Psychologists, your first stop for psychoeducation. Just remember, we have expanded our services to eMalahleni with Bank, and that is just to say that Pretoria Psychologist is not only available here in Pretoria, but also in the Mpumalanga province. With that said, for this month, we are looking at the seasonal affective disorders. And maybe you might be wondering, what is seasonal affective disorders, also known as SAD? It is one of the depressive episodes, or it's diagnosed under major depression disorders, and it is a subtype of a major depression disorder. How do we differentiate SAD from other major depression disorders, or MDD? It is that it's got to be, occurring at the same time of that particular year, or, the previous year, and it also has got to be existing for 2 years. And we also want to say as well that there should be a major depression that is existing. And what are the symptoms? The symptoms will be the same as the major depression. So it will be insomnia, it will be lethargy, it will be depression, hopelessness, inability to concentrate, isolation, lack of desire in pleasurable activities. So as you can hear, all of this that I'm mentioning, it's very much related to depressive episodes. But as I said, the marked difference will be that it happens in a particular season. So let's say maybe a loved one passed on in a particular season. Each and every time you might feel sad coming on, so seasonal affective disorder, and there's got to be depression pre-existing within that 2 years. And also there needs to be that there was full remission. What we mean by full remission is that there were no symptoms of depression in a particular time, and the symptoms of depression then occur at that season when we are saying seasonal affective disorder. So those are just some technicalities so that you can understand how come am I feeling sad or seasonal affective disorder at this particular time. It's because it is co-current within a season, and also it is within the major depressive disorders. You might ask yourself, what causes SAD? I will talk about it from a Western perspective and also a South African perspective, because that's where we are mainly situated. But from a Western perspective, we see that most of the time it happens around the autumn season, or what in the Western world they will call it the fall. And here we see that there is lack of sunshine. So the lack of the vitamin D or the sunshine then makes it available or unavailable, hormone releasing serotonin and melatonin that regulates our mood. And that is mainly, as I said, in the Western season, because then the fall, around September, October, November, preparing to the winter season where there is lack of sun. But also I've noticed the phenomenon happening in the South African context, or the context where it is still sunny. And how do we then explain this? As I was growing up, we used to say around September, October, November, ditlhare di a tloga. And it's almost like this, collective, for a lack of a better word, a psychosis or neuroticism of a national one, and where I know and I have observed that the beds become fuller at that time. So again, it's the season where people go through in a particular year and concurring within year after year, where people don't feel so well, be it maybe that they are evaluating their lives and they are seeing that it's almost the end of the year and they have not achieved much, or as a result of a particular event that has happened in that year. Other people will even hate the start of June, for example, where they will be like, my mind shuts down, I cannot think. And that could also be particularly because of that whole vitamin D or the sunshine not being available. What can we do about it? There are many therapies that can be used in the Northern Hemisphere or the Western context. What we will call light therapy is used so that people are exposed to the light. As I said, it regulates the hormones of serotonin and melatonin. So the melatonin helps us to regulate the sleep. That is why then you've got insomnia, because a person does not have the normal rhythm of life, or the serotonin, which is a feel-good hormone. Other ways is also getting a vitamin D supplement that can also help. Psychotherapy as well, speaking about what could be the cause, that each and every year, what happens the year before and the year before happens. You might find that there's grief that you have not dealt with, or maybe you have gone through a traumatic experience around that time, and there's an association with a particular month or a particular season of the year. And so psychotherapy can very much help. Medication, of course, such as antidepressants, can also help us to deal much better. But for some practical tips that I want to leave with you is exercising. Even though, in that season, you might not feel like exercising, just going out, getting some fresh air, even if it's cold, it can do you very good, just to get the blood pumping, to get some oxygen in, which again also gets rid of the excessive cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Eating well, food that nourishes us. I know there is a huge temptation just to go for comfort food, for food that are convenient, but that can make us feel actually even worse about ourselves. Something as well is to be connected to people. As I said, most of the time we want to isolate ourselves because we lack pleasure in things that used to give us pleasure, or we withdraw from those social systems. Now it is the time to connect to people who mean well for you even more, to reach out to those support systems. And then the last one is not thinking, that it is that time of the year, because already that sets you up to say it is that time of the year, and your body then focuses and follows where your mind has gone. The don'ts, not isolating yourself, will be very important. And another big don't is to go to substances as a way of coping, because that can only make you feel better. Yes, substances will make you feel better in the time being, or temporarily, but in the long term it will actually make you feel worse, because it heightens the anxiety, it heightens the depression, the agitation, the restlessness, and the lack of concentration, which then has got secondary ramification on your SAD or the seasonal affective disorders. With that, I'm hoping that what I've given you as some nuggets, as some scaftini for the week, was helpful enough to be able to identify, to say, how come is this depression coming in, back in this particular season, to be able to understand. And that's actually what this platform is all about, to help you to understand yourself, to not judge yourself, to not think that you are strange to feel that way, but to reach out for help. There is help that is available out there. To reach out for help is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it is a sign of strength. With that, this is Monday ReTsene with Pretoria Psychologists. Myself checking out Nkateko Magoro. We'll see you next time.